You might think you're doing one PhD, but actually, I think you're doing two. They can be the difference between somebody finishing their PhD and walking away from it. The PhD isn't just about producing a thesis, it's about producing a researcher. The PhD is one of the first times that smart people cannot clearly tell how well they're doing. And the reason for that is because there's a hidden curriculum that nobody tells doctoral researchers about. You might think you're doing one PhD, but actually, I think you're doing two. There's the PhD you enrolled on, the one you expected, the one where you had to write a proposal, write a literature review, design a study, get ethical approval, collect your data, analyse your data, write it up, etc. That's the PhD that you prepared for. But there's another PhD going on at exactly the same time. And people don't really talk about this second one because it's going on beneath the surface, and it's what I call the hidden curriculum. The hidden curriculum of the PhD are all of the things that nobody ever teaches you. You just kind of stumble across them. You get to know them kind of by accident. And this happens whether you're studying full-time, part-time, distance learning. The hidden curriculum is part of everybody's PhD journey. Nobody sits you down and explains them. They don't appear in a handbook, but they are such an important part of your PhD. In fact, I would go as far as to say they can be the difference between somebody finishing their PhD and walking away from it. That is why I feel quite strongly about this. Over the last 20 years, I've worked with so many PhD researchers who've reached a point where they've thought, maybe I'm just not cut out for this. But often, the thing that was making them doubt themselves wasn't about their ability at all. It was simply that nobody had explained what was going on in terms of that hidden curriculum. And that's what I want to start talking about today. Because honestly, I think that understanding the hidden curriculum can make your PhD experience so much more bearable, so much more less anxious. The really important thing to understand is this. The PhD isn't just about producing a thesis. It's about producing a researcher. Yes, you'll hopefully end up with a beautifully bound thesis sitting on a lovely bookshelf somewhere, but that isn't really the point. The real outcome of the PhD is that you become someone who can think like a researcher. Everything else sits on top of that. So when your PhD starts feeling confusing, when you realise there isn't always one right answer, when your supervisor starts replying to your questions with more questions or with, well, it depends, when you rewrite the same chapter for the 5th time, those experiences are not random. They're part of this hidden curriculum that nobody warned you about. The hidden curriculum includes things like learning how to trust your own judgement, learning to get comfortable with uncertainty, accepting that having to rewrite something doesn't mean you failed. That is how research develops. It's also about realising that qualitative research doesn't set out in search of the right answer or the correct answer. It's about making well-reasoned, defensible, transparent decisions. All of those things are hidden curriculum lessons. Over the next few videos, I'm going to unpack the hidden curriculum because I think once you understand what is going on underneath the surface, your PhD begins to make a lot more sense. In the next video, we're going to talk about one of the biggest hidden lessons of all. That lesson focuses on uncertainty and why it's important that you shouldn't set out to get rid of uncertainty immediately. Uncertainty can become your friend on your qualitative PhD journey, so you need to learn to sit with it. Even make friends with it. I'll see you in there.